Well, thank you for letting me share. Even though Brad didn't know that I was going to be the speaker, and you guys probably didn't know either, but I'm excited to share a part of myself as to why I have been traveling. So I'm going to share my screen. Actually, first, it is so much easier to share about mortgage than to share about this part of my life. So bear with me as I feel like I'm getting so nervous, and I usually don't say that when I start. Okay, give me a second because I have to make an adjustment to my screen. Okay, and okay. So the world of Kristel, listening to my inner compass. So last year I did come to our meeting, and I also got our Rotarian of the Year. So I'm grateful for that. But I also want to acknowledge the fact that you guys been so kind in having me show up when I could. Like you guys want to do something in July, and I won't be physically there. But I've been committed to showing up even the different time zones. Now, if I do go to Europe with the time zone difference, I don't know if I can commit to that because it's like 6 hours difference. Um, but you don't really know why I travel. And I wanted to share that. Some of you may, some of you may not. So I'm going to go through a journey of Kristel's to know how it started, even though it actually started back when I was a kid. I always went to Europe for the summer. But my intuition, my listening to my inner guidance has gotten deeper as I've evolved as an energy practitioner. But you mostly know me as a lender and as a Rotarian. So today, I'm going to share about other parts. After my divorce, I went to South America in 2018. So I was married for 15 years, lived in Atlanta, landlocked, totally landlocked in Atlanta. And as soon as I got divorced, actually, and before I even got divorced, I wanted to move to Florida. But before I made that permanent move from Atlanta to another state, I decided to go to South America for a trip with myself. It's like a honeymoon. So I took pictures. I have a lot of pictures. So I'm going to share a few from here, but I'm scroll down for my 3 months. This is my first trip to South America, Chile. And all of those people you see there, even though we seem so friendly, I didn't know them until I got there. Like I left Atlanta and on the 31st arrived. I didn't even know Chile was 9 hours from Atlanta south and how far. Like I had no idea, but this was an unexpected going with remote workers. By the way, all those images, no matter where I go, even today, I always bring my work with me. So I'm a lender on the go person who shares her life as much as she can. So give me 1 second because I actually want to share some other images of this should be actually there. So I have like people that I've met. Looks like we are knowing each other. So every 30 days, we travel to different places. This is in Buenos Aires, which was my second month. The re-roam is basically where people can work remotely, and every 30 days we travel. This little image right here, you can see there's a workspace. So I was working from okay, so I was working from different locations that we can meet. Like those are all co-workers. Well, not co-workers, travelers, but they do their own work. And honestly, in 2018, people did not really embrace it. So you can see foods, travels, but this was really a depth of knowing who I was after divorce. This was in January. Then I went to this part right here. Let me see if I can actually bring Brazil. My third month in Brazil was actually more of connection with myself because now we are into the water realm. And whenever it's water, Kristel is more connected. So Chile, Buenos Aires, and then my heart totally opened that I have to be in a place where I experience water. And that's where when I left Brazil, I felt I can't go back to Atlanta. This is totally a fact. Atlanta is not going to be a place for me. I had to be to a place where there's water. But before I did that in 2018, I went to Paris, I went to Mallorca. Mallorca is an island in of Spain. So just kept on flying in 2018 to just have fun post-divorce, like honeymoon with myself. My mom even asked me, "Can I come and join you?" No. Everybody was off limit. Like, no, I cannot meet anyone. This is a time with Christelle and center myself. And then when I used to travel to Florida for on vacation, I always had a feeling that Fort Lauderdale felt home, not so much Miami, for Fort Lauderdale. And I decided to stay a few months actually in 2018 to see how I would feel about it. And I went from being disconnected to loving my time with the beach. And Fort Lauderdale, when I moved officially in November, so from Paris, I went to Mallorca. I went back to Atlanta, had packed my luggage, my truck actually, with limited stuff in there. And then this is when my time started in Fort Lauderdale Beach. And that was from 2019 officially to 2020, end of 2022, just pure joy. Even though this was a time of COVID, I still had so much joy of living by the beach. And you say, well, why did you leave? Why would you leave this amazing place? This was actually my view from my apartment, a seventh floor intercoastal. The Hilton is on the left side. The W is on right in front of me. And then this is, what is it called right now? I don't remember what it's called, but it has a rooftop. It has changed names in the last few years. But this was my life at the beach, loving to work and then going down to happy hour at the hotel lobbies of the restaurants, walking down the boardwalk of the Fort Lauderdale beach and just listening to music and having just really fun, love. And it's not just love. Yes, I had a partner at that time, Chris, that you guys met a few times. But it was really loving life because I felt like I was living life fully. And I had not experienced that. By the way, I joined in 2019 our club and where I just met amazing people, all of you guys. All right. Now, what happened? This is not officially, I did not actually find, let me move this here. I did not actually find an image. I didn't take a picture of when they were rebuilding, which is one reason why Rajan is out of his apartment. It is so loud and disruptive to live in an apartment where they are rebuilding. So they told me they were going to go ahead and start in 2022, April, and it's going to take a few months. All of it will be done. That was not true. And they only worked on one facade to start, and then my facade wasn't even started. So this is an image of the Four Seasons, which is not all built, but this is like disruption on the coast. And I wanted, if I moved from Atlanta to Florida, I wanted to be by the beach, not just to be landlocked again. So at that time when I was dating Chris, he said, you know what? I would love the opportunity to do a traveling nurse assignment. Why don't you come with me? So I said, like, fine. I took my, I kept my apartment. And eventually I let it go because I had a feeling that this was going to take too much time for them to finish my site a whole year. And they ended up selling the place. But that's why I actually left Fort Lauderdale. It's because that joy and everything was great until the sound. And I'm sure Rejan can attest to it that it is very disruptive and I was feeling anxiety. Okay. Now, when first assignment that Chris took was in Fort Myers, so it was just across, right? And this was fine. But then when he was talking about the next assignment, Arizona came up, and I was like, "Oh, super interested in Arizona." Arizona was just like got me like an electrical sense in my body, and I was like, I've known that I have an energy sensitivity, but then I was like, "There's something about it." But he did not take it. He ended up taking an assignment to New Hampshire. I started talking now and I'm not even following, but let me actually go back to this. What is it does it mean to be sensitive to energy? Some people feel the weather, others feel the mood in the room. And for me, it's like a full body awareness. And literally for Arizona, when he mentioned a possibility, my body moved forward. Like, yes, I got lit. And I did not really know much more of Arizona. Like, okay, it's on the map, and there's Sedona, which is where I went. So it's very similar to animals who basically feel when things are about to change, the weather, just like the antennas go up. So my body does feel not necessarily like the dogs or the pets, right? Doesn't necessarily go, oh my gosh, something's about to happen, but I am sensitive to energies and mostly the energy of what feels right for me. And by the way, we all have that sensitivity. It's just the focus that we place to it or the logic, well, yeah, but I can't. And I did that. I decided to not follow my instinct, but I'll get to that. I still want to talk about energy. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, it's physics. You guys all know Albert Einstein. Back in 2000, I think it was 2015 or 14, I went to a yoga class and the lady said, start to feel the energy between your hands. I was like, what is she talking about? Energy between my hands. I had no clue until I started feeling it. And at that time, as I was kept on doing the yoga practices, I declared I am an energy practitioner, which I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what realm I was opening. And I did Reiki certifications. I've done their training. So any certifications, I did my best to learn and experience that awareness of energy and what it means for me. And I developed deeper understanding. But like I said, in this 2023, when we decided to do the next assignment, which Arizona was X'd because money was more in New Hampshire, so we decided to go there. But I knew it wasn't for me. I was totally disconnected. So let me actually be silly with this. This is actually the image I want to share with you guys, but I'm not going to keep it there. This was my face. This was my feeling of actually like, seriously, we're doing this. But then I did my best to enjoy and appreciate the the possibility of New Hampshire. And it was a place of healing and growth for me as well. So whenever I feel disconnected with something, I ask myself, what is there for me to learn? What is there for me to grow? And so I already shared, so I'm kind of really flowing really, and I have those as more of my notes for myself that I'm sharing with you because they're images. But we did New Hampshire, and it was a beautiful 8 months of pain, suffering, crying, joy, all of the emotions. I did visit the Rotary Club there. It was they were meeting in a retirement home, so it's an older, more traditional 8 to 5 job kind of feeling of heaviness, and I felt totally disconnected. When when we went to New Hampshire, even though I did not go to Arizona, I had promised myself I will go to Sedona. And I did my best to be a word, be true to my word. And I actually did. In December of 2023, I said, I have to give to myself the knowing that something was there for me. And I didn't know what it was. It was really going for the unknown, but the knowing inside there's something there. Unknown in the sense, it's like, it seems may seem confusing. Unknown of what can unfold, but the knowing internally there was something there for me to discover. So let that sit with you of places and times that I need to do this. I know it, but then the logic takes you away from it, like I did for New Hampshire. And I said, not anymore. We're going to go ahead and do this, Kristel. Chris did not agree to going, but I did for myself. And I had to go ahead and honor the truth for me. And it is not a wrong, it's just different path. Sedona is a place of, you may have heard the word before, vortex. It's a place of energy. So what does this mean? And I'm showing you also pictures of trees. So this here is the juniper tree, which is native of Arizona, of Sedona. And you can see the vortex because it's the flow of energy, right? That's a spiral. It actually makes that it happens to the trees. Some trees, the juniper trees, are not always in this shape, but you know the energy is potent when you start seeing those trees that are twisted. And it's not twisted like there's something wrong with them, it's that they are going with the vortex, with the energy of the frequency there. Native Americans consider these lands sacred. By the way, Sedona in the north of Arizona was very much a volcano. It was water, volcano eruption. There's been so much over the years. So the Red Rocks have long drawn spiritual seekers, artists, and mystics. I will take your questions after. Um, okay. And then those are actually pictures that I took. So those are places that I've been. I believe this is Castle Rock. The other one that I took a picture of here, this is a church that's built inside, I mean, inside in the sense of like formation from the Red Rock. And it does have a Christ on the cross there. And it was interesting because a lot of people go visit and one day someone said, who is this? And I'm like, people don't really know Jesus. Like, but he was from a different, because it's so visited by tourists. It was, I think, an Indian child who basically had no idea. It's like, but why is he on, like, not hanging, but like up on a cross and so painful. So it was interesting to see that not everybody has that experience of Jesus in there. So just wanted to say, because we're so used to having that image of Jesus on the cross, not everyone experienced that. So this draws a lot of people from different parts of the world to experience the energy. There are over 8 places that you can go and visit and do hikes to experience that. So Sedona has been considered sacred land, as I mentioned before. Some of the tribes, Yavapai and Apache, they they do healing, they have vision. So it's very deep into the earth. The red rocks are bridges between the earth and the sky, a place where prayers travel faster. Okay. I've already mentioned some of the pictures that I took were from those vortex areas. Oops, this here. So whether you believe in energy or not, many report feeling something here, tingling, heightened emotion, deep insight. This time for me in Sedona was healed, continuation of healing and really centering myself into loving myself fully. And it may sound cliche. What does this really mean? I will honestly say a lot of times when I get into intimate relationships with a partner, with a husband, I give so much of myself because I'm a giver that I put myself sometimes second, which I did when I did New Hampshire. And I have chosen to now embrace and now come in alignment with my partner or my job and not just deplete myself in order to. So Sedona was really a beautiful place for me to even create a new community. The next day that I got there, by the way, I went a one-way ticket. All those trips are one-way tickets, not knowing, and we'll unfold and see. The next day, I met a lady who, basically a young lady who helped me with her car, who helped me with this, or helped me with the move from Airbnb, and it was flowing. It was so easy, but it was that unknown and feeling like all of it was falling into place. So allow yourself to sometimes just like, let me go left if I'm used to going right and just experience the unknown. From Arizona, I asked myself, where can I go next? And then I discovered, you know what? Oh, I had the intention of now going to sacred places. So the next place many people haven't heard of is Mount Shasta. You guys may have heard because I was calling for 10 months from Mount Shasta, and it's this mountain that has also a lot of energy. That it gives to those who are open to the energies. So I arrived on July 4th with again a one-way ticket. The pictures that I saw of Mount Shasta, I was like, I'm not staying there. This seems so, I don't know, sad or something. There was something about it. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stay there long. But Mount Shasta is known for spiritual mastery and majestic beauty. And back ancient civilization, you have Lemurians. There was maybe of some of you may have heard of Atlantis. There's like full of civilizations that are underwater, and people are still connected to those. One second. And people are still connecting spiritually to those lives, those ancient times. So it can be very mystic, of course. And it may be for some of you like, what the heck is Kristel talking about? This is so hoo-hoo. Yes, it is hoo, but some of us do feel the energies. And I have traveled in meditations to those underground cities and interdimensional places. So it's, yes, I am open to energies, but really energies of what we call the light. So the power of trust. You've heard, leap and the net will appear. That's what I've done in many of my travels. And physically also, I did jump off the plane. I did skydiving once. So I guess I am gutsy when it comes to certain aspects of my life. But the power of trust. Trust the journey. Trust that even if it seems like it's sideways, like even my time in Mount Shasta, I'm sorry, in New Hampshire, it was really a realignment to Kristel. When you know it's not for you, you get to make a decision and a choice that feels more in alignment. Was it scary? Yes, but even more than fear, I felt a knowing. The more I listened, the stronger that voice got. It's not about avoiding fear, it's about trusting yourself enough to walk with it. So, my personal invitation is for you to not, it's to no longer ignore. When you feel a nudge, go for it. Let go of always the logic. Does this make sense? And when we are in fixed mindset of this is the way I've done it all the time, this is who I am, we're not open to necessarily experiencing the miracle, the unexpected, the possibilities. So I invite you, even if it's once in a while, hear my little voice in the background and say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance and just go with my intuition for this one. Um, okay. So Sedona, pyramids that I was in Mount Shasta, definitely lived in those places. It wasn't just a month, a week. It was really embracing being a resident temporarily of those places. So I appreciate you allowing me to share this with you. And you may be wondering, why should I share all this? Besides, I want you to know a little bit more about your energy. Maybe if it's the energy between your hands, the knowing, the voice that you hear, and really giving it attention. But we often think of service as something we do, acts of kindness, giving our time, helping others. And I've also come to understand the more aligned I become inside, the more I can serve from a place of truth, peace, and power. So there you have it. I'm open to questions.
Fantastic. That's great.
Thank you.
Inspiring.
Thank you.
So you came
I have
back
a
to
question.
Guadalupe. You came back to Guadalupe because of your grandma's birthday, essentially, was it? Your grandmother's
Correct.
birthday?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That brought you back. That was your
it brought me
intent. That was
back.
the next.
Yeah, it's a timeline that I have until, of course, she passes, to be here every year for her birthday. And it's also
uh,
energetically and emotionally a way of assessing when I couldn't disconnect from regular community as far as my day-to-day activities, let's say within the community, is how am I actually responding? How am I reacting? Am I actually really reacting or am I responding? So it's almost like a barometer of who have been calm. Is this really when I'm totally disconnected like a monk? Or is it I can be in society and still be in the truth and power of who I am? Because I'm not intending
it
to
provides
just be
some.
living so far from everybody.
It kind of gives you a reset, I guess, is what my mind. Go back to
Yes,
Guadalupe and see evaluation. That's nice.
exactly. It can be painful at first because it's like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
But it's so rewarding. Yes, Joe.
Crystal, I have a question. Of all the places you've traveled, uh, is there one that stands out that you would suggest we visit?
So the first one I would say, Joe, is come to the islands, come to Guadeloupe, because it's really no matter where I've traveled, Guadeloupe and specifically Les Saints, which is in Spanish Los Santos, the Saints. So it is a place that fishermen town. That's where I was going on vacation, but it's really like there's a different piece to it. It's slower. It's just you walk everywhere. That's where it really feels home to me. The little village coming to a place of restoration, but also having fun because they do drink their Heineken and have fun. So I love where I'm from. I honestly love where I'm from. And of all the places, let's say if Europe, I love Barcelona. I love Spain. I love the Spanish culture because it's vibrant. Um, in the United States, I love Fort Lauderdale. It's just a mix for me of island as well as living in America with the standards of America, the customer service level. I haven't ventured to Asia, but now that I'm with Irene working with her, who knows, right? There might be a possibility there. I would say listen to your instinct of what attracts me, because for me, it's the sacred places, places that I can feel the energy and the consciousness of others. In Mount Shasta, my conversations were a lot about all the ancient civilizations. It was about meditations. If you're not into that, even if I tell you this is the most amazing place of transformation, it's not going to really connect for you. So I would say go within and see what is that one place I would love to go and go for it. Hey, Regina.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing like that, and also for suggesting the book The Magic to your friend.
Yes.
And I want to say also that I forgot to mention in my time to speak that tomorrow is our 40th anniversary, Claudette and I.
Happy
Oh,
anniversary.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Stoked
Congratulations.
for that,
Anniversary.
John.
Yeah.
I have a
Yes, the
question.
book The Magic. Let me just say one thing because the book The Magic to me is so transformational that I share it because I know from all the transformation. I've traveled a lot, but I've also done a lot of transformational work. And it's not like something is wrong with me, it's just I know there's something deeper in me that wants to emerge. And I am presenting today because I know it's starting to show up where I'm going to freely kind of come out of the closet. But the magic creates such a transformation, which is a place of gratitude. So I'm also grateful that Irene decided to pick it up. Yes, Chris.
Question is, my year starts in July, but during my year as president, what can we learn? What can we evolve? How can we project and be ready for your year? And what would you like us to understand? And I don't know, so that when you become president the following year, we're not starting from ground zero. What can we do in small classes and be ready?
So one thing that comes to mind, and I did not share that really on during the presentation, is in Sedona and Mount Shasta, the Rotarians there definitely had, and we do have it with Sean and when we had other members, is working with the youth. So it's the bridging of who we are as adults, but really helping the coming community. So during that time, I would love for us to utilize our skill. Joe has a lot of knowledge. Rajan has an account. Like all our backgrounds bring so much wealth of information that there might be a way, even though we travel, that we can do some small Zoom calls with those, Sean's students, people who we can mentor based on who we are, not reinvent the wheel, but necessarily teach them, share the story, but not sharing to just dump the story, but share so they can feel inspired. So I think that would be amazing if we keep doing that. And even Sean, as he has people allowing maybe once a month for them to come and share their story, share who they've becoming through motivational speaking. Because I think it's powerful to be able to speak your truth, speak your evolution. So I think that would be awesome because it involves us as who we are, Rotarians as the service above self, but then also the people we'll be serving. And then also on a personal level, an invitation of I'm just, like I said, not just giving all this information I know of my story, but learning from them because there's something in every interaction of a lesson. The you sometimes is a mirror. I can be in a conversation with one person that will be a whole different conversation with someone else that maybe Chris, Joe, Kevin will have, because very often when we interact with others, it's a mirror of who we are. And we may get triggered or maybe a confirmation. So really be listening to not what we're teaching. I just did this and I'm above them. No, it's an interaction for bridging.
Kristel, I think you're on the right track. And also, Sean, I feel that I know to share experiences is critical to the young people. And for whatever reason, we have deviated from that because I see it in my own family. What they think about who should be selected to run the country and etc. It is weird of how they arrive at a decision. And because we are separated versus the way I grew up, as an example, every Sunday we went to my grandmother's. Therefore, all my cousins came together. So 80 years later, we still communicate, which is rare in families of
So Joe, I
exchange
would say I
and
agree. And
so
because we're
forth. And
short on
so,
time.
because my kids are all over the place, they're doing things that I don't understand, and it's difficult to communicate to them, what you should be doing. And instead of coming back and discussing where they want to go, what they want to do, they're not getting the influence of experience with the past. And they are making decisions that I don't understand. So how do we get the youth? And I think what Sean is doing is sharing experiences. Like I've had about 80, 90 rides in Lyft or Uber, and I listen and I ask questions about them, and they tell me the problems they're having and this and that. And I say, well, it comes down to one word. Are you selfish? If either party is selfish, it isn't going to work. And if both are selfish, it's impossible. So think about what you put in your mouth and what effect it's going to have on your health and the future. And somewhere we've lost that. And the breakup of the family, I think, is the single biggest thing.
So, Joe, can I interject on that? Yeah. So even though I lived in the US for over 30 years, I haven't disconnected from my family. I think every member of my family knows me more than some of the people who live on the island. And that's because I made a decision of getting to know people and not out of a place of judgment, but out of a place of curiosity. Right. So when you're sharing that, they're not coming, it's like, how do you get to be curious? There's Zoom. Make an invitation. Let's come on Zoom once a month. Things have changed where people are no longer like I used to go every Sunday to my grandmother's house. But one other way, invite them on the Zoom. So being from a place of curiosity, not of just of knowledge because your wisdom comes in other aspects. But there's that bridging because they are also in a place of the business of their life. Choices on the political is actually a reflection of things that may be inside that needs to be really reflected on. Politics is really one aspect that may be a reflection of the person, something that they are experiencing, but that doesn't make them who they are, right? So some of those topics can be very triggering. And I know that from my previous relationship with my partner, very different, but there is, of course, the love at the core. But then how do we actually either like, this is my only way, or this is this is very interesting. Not that it's weird, it's curious. Why do you feel that way? What makes you feel that way? But really with the intention not of fixing them, but really of being curious. Who are you? Who is my family now? What has it become? But have fun with it. Don't judge it. And invite them on a Zoom call. They can't make it to grandma. Have it a Zoom call. There are
Brad,
solutions
you're
if you're
mute.
open to the solutions. What did you say, Alex? And I know we're
Brad, you're
9:05.
muted. Brad, you're
Brad is
muted.
talking, but he's muted.
You're muted, Brad. Brad.
He's
Thank
right.
you. I've got it. Thank you, Kristel.
Thank you.
Fantastic presentation. You stimulated a lot of thought for a lot of people. I can see that. So, when we need an additional speaker, we'll get you back. We'll let you stimulate us again. So thank you. We will
welcome.
end with the
Thank you.
four-way test of the things we think, say, and do, so we can have our board meeting and go to work, I guess. So, but the
Say the
Rotary
truth.
four-way test of the things we think, say, and do first.
Is is it fair to
Second,
all concerned?
fair to all concerned. Third,
Will it
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all
Beneficial to all
concerned?
concerned.
And fifth, will it be
Will it
fun
be
and stimulating? Thank you, Kristel. Again, that was really good.
Thank you.
So for those of you who want to stick around, we're going to have a short board meeting. So thank you.